Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today TV. I'm Sakshi Batra and this is Market Today, a show where we'll help you understand all the latest cues from the D Street, starting from the benchmark index moves to sectoral action and all the stocks that are buzzing the most in trade. Let's also look at how the markets are doing at this point. We'll get you expert voices in the show later part of the day. But first up, 19,440 kind of levels coming in on the Nifty, 45 points up in trade. The Sensex also hovering at 65,586. So the momentum on the positive side does continue. About 0.25% jump for both these major indices, and they are hovering near fresh record levels again. So the market momentum continues to inch higher. Let's look at the broader markets and the other portions of the markets, whether they are supportive in trade today. Let's look at the broader markets, the mid and the small cap 100 indices, and see whether they are participating in the market momentum today. So the mid cap 100 index is higher by 0.6%. Remember, yesterday they outperformed the benchmark indices, and the momentum continues likewise. The small cap 100 index also up by 0.5%. So definitely the broader market is where the bigger action is in today's trade. Let's also look at the Nifty Bank. Remember, yesterday there was a very volatile session for the banking space stocks. In the latter part, we did see some comeback coming in, but the Nifty Bank 0.25% up in trade at 45,260, but with a little bit of choppiness. Let's look at the financial services, the PSU banks. So the PSU banks are 0.5% higher in trade today at 44.06 kind of levels. Private banks up just 0.2% odd in trade. Let's also look at the financial services pack. That's also just flat with a positive bias right now, just about 0.1% higher in trade. But in terms of the other sectors, as far as the Nifty sectors are concerned, barring slight losses that you're looking at on the FMCG pack and on the IT pack, rest of the sectors are all up in the green. It's the realty space that is shining the brightest today, 2.8% higher, 52-week high levels for this one. Following this is, we are looking at some gains coming in on the healthcare pack today, 1% higher for this one. The oil and gas continues to be in a sweet spot, 1.5% higher for the Nifty oil and gas index as well today. And slight gains coming in on the back of pharma, 0.7% higher, PSU banks, private banks. Realty space, of course, we did talk about. Consumer durables, 0.3% up in trade as well. The autos are absolutely flat with a positive bias right now. Let's look at the stocks also that are making news and are as part of the top Nifty 50 gainers today. So you're looking at stocks like BPCL, that's higher by 2% today. NTPC Power Grid, so the energy majors are higher. Apollo Hospitals from the healthcare pack is the top gainer today, 3% higher. M&M from the auto pack is again finding its space in the top 5 gainers. On the downside, Eicher Motors 3 days in a row, and we've been seeing continuous decline coming in on Eicher Motors, 2.5% down for this one. Maruti follows suit, 1.5% down for this one as well. Bajaj Finance, HDFC Life, Tata Steel, the other laggards on the markets right now. But time to welcome our guest on the show. Mr. Rahul Shah joins in, Senior Vice President at Motilal Oswal Financial Services. Welcome, Rahul, and thank you so much for taking the time out. Well, the markets are continuing to soar higher. How is the trade setup really looking to you? Because even despite slight signs of profit booking in yesterday and day before's trade, we did see the markets bounce back again and retain their upward momentum.
Hi, good afternoon. I think two, three things. I think the markets have been doing very well, and just a choppy day in last couple of days. And yesterday's loss, if we talk about, is only because of the HDFC Bank, post their quarterly updates, and I think we saw some profit booking happening in that stock.
Yeah.
So I personally feel that overall markets on a broader perspective looks quite interesting. Does not look like any mediocre selling which is going to happen. I think if we see a lot of updates which have come up other than this, if we talk about cement by major Ultratech came up with a number on Saturday which was quite good. I think quarter on quarter, year on year, both the numbers were quite good. And if we look at other banks as well, which reported their numbers, though in a smaller space and were very good, but reported that which was quite good. So I think in terms overall, I think looks like the macro data also looks very promising, which has been better. If you look at just to give perspective, GST collection, the run rate has been quite good. So my sense is that I think the lower oil prices, macro indicators like GST and all the good collection data, advanced tax numbers, and I think quarterly updates. So I think all these things augurs well, and I think if we see a lot of demand which is coming up, the consumer demand which we could see in the Q4 numbers, I think the reflection should continue from the current quarter as well. So I feel that all of those points which have been discussed looks very interesting and looks like the markets seems to be trend higher from the current level as well.
Okay, understood that. But you know, the space that we are watching out for today is the real estate space. 2.8% uptick for the Nifty Realty at 52-week high levels. In fact, of the 10 constituents of the Nifty Realty, barring one, the 9 real estate stocks are all up in the green. Many of them at 52-week high levels as well. When we talk about, say, Lodha or Macrotech developers, that hit a 52-week high in today's trading action. We did see Godrej Properties hitting a 52-week high level. Of course, we did see DLF, then Oberoi Realty coming in very close, Prestige also coming in very, very close to its 52-week high levels as well. Sobha, Mahindra Life. You're looking at all of these stocks that are inching higher in trade. Ajmera Realty zooming 4% as well. What's really pushing this real estate stocks higher? What is the key trigger here, and is it likely to sustain?
I think two, 3 points. The one is obviously, if we look at it, I think the last quarter numbers for all the real estate were quite good, and the update which has come from the, recently also in a couple of real estate developers for today's, I think Lodha has come up with a very good numbers. So I think all these two things augurs well. But second, I think if we're seeing the stable interest rates, I think interest rates have been in a quite stable since last 2 weeks. What the RBI is saying. So I think near term interest rates so I think that is also which is helping. And I think there post COVID, if we look at there is a continuous demand for entire real estate sector. And if we see the prices have moved up 20 to 30%, and in some cases 30 to 40% in the real estate prices,
Right.
and also the inventory levels are low. So this is just all factors put together. I think looks like that. I think real estate stocks should continue to do well.
Okay, understood that too. You know, macro developers, like you pointed out, Q1 sales bookings are up by 17% at 3,350 crores. The company's added 5 new projects worth 12,000 crore rupees. So strong business update, really pushing the stock at 52-week high levels as well. Apart from this, we're seeing Ajmera Realty zooming 4% on strong Q-on-Q sales growth. The company has definitely pointed out that we have seen clocked in sales of 225 crores and collection of 111 crores for Q1 of FY24, witnessing a 60% and 8% respectively kind of a growth on Q basis and as compared to Q4 of FY23. So both the numbers on a Y-on-Y basis, however, have still been subdued. But on a quarter basis, there's been a jump right there. Which real estate stocks will be your top bets at this point in time? We've seen most of these stocks come to their 52-week high levels. But are there any stocks that you're keeping on your radar that does show some potential to grow from here also?
I think all of them, and I think if we talk about three, four large shoots, if we talk about the real estate sector as a whole, one is obviously the Bangalore real estate market looks quite promising. The demand is growing as well as the supply looks quite restricted, and developers also restricted by 10 to 12 large developers. So I think that real estate markets prices are also very firm. So I think that's entire as a whole. Sector looks quite promising. So in that space, I think Shobha and Brigade are the one, and the third one is Prestige. All three looks quite interesting in that space. And then if we talk about the overall large play as a whole in the country, then I think including Macrotech as well and Godrej Property, both stocks look attractive. So in nutshell, I think the entire sector, and if we look at the month on month, in the month of June, I think the entire real estate sector as a whole index has moved up 9% vis-a-vis Nifty or other sectors. So I think there's one of the best performing markets, sectors. So I feel these three large companies should do well.
Okay, understood that. Let's also shift focus to some of the other stocks that are buzzing the most in trade. DCB Bank, for example, has jumped 8% today after Tata AMC has got RBI not to raise stake. There are brokerage houses that are giving a buy call and a target price of 150 odd levels on the stock right now. Currently, it's already up by 7% and trading at 130. Do you think the news flow has enough to push the stock higher? Rahul, your thoughts on DCB Bank?
I think entire banking as a space, I think, has done well, and I think the overall, if you look at it, I think this year should continue well for the bank financials as a whole, and obviously the smaller banks like BCP and all should would also do well. So and obviously this positive news for the company with the Tata Mutual Fund can buy more shares, so that also is positive for DCB. So I think. Overall, I think three large trends for the entire banking sector. I think improving asset quality, the credit growth continues to improve quarter on quarter, and the commentary by most of the management and including has been quite positive, and looks like that it's going to do well. So I think going forward as also, and also, and thirdly, I think interest rates are not volatile, and I think we're going to continue here for some time. So all these factors measures for the entire banking sector as a whole. So I think DCB also should continue to do well, and I think the valuation one time book less than 10 times on all this augurs well for DCB as well.
Okay. Rahul, two more stocks that I wanted your view on from the auto and the auto ancillary pack. One is Eicher Motors, of course. We've seen a 3 days of consecutive decline with the competitor launch from Harley and Hero Moto. And we've been seeing the stock clearly under pressure because there seems to be a direct competition with the Royal Enfield's Classic 350 right there, which has been a market leader so far. The stocks, I think, down by around 11-12% in the last three trading sessions, trading at 32-39. What do you have to say on Eicher Motors? Do you think a buy on dip strategy should be adopted on this, or will there be a severe competition that may drive away margins and some of the market share from Eicher Motors Royal Enfield space as well, with the coming and new launches coming in on this pack? And the other stock that I wanted to discuss is Samvardhan Motherson, that's up at 52-week high levels. Brokerage houses, double upgrades coming in on the stock, pushing the stock higher.
I think firstly, let's talk about Eicher. I think what I understand is I think obviously on the launch of a couple of bikes, I think we have seen some kind of a profit booking and a nervousness in the stock. So I think it's too early to talk about it. But obviously the markets react first for any such kind of an event. So I feel that I think obviously most of the auto stocks have done very well in after post the Q4 numbers. I think if you look at most of them are valued 10-12% also. So some kind of profit booking we have seen in Eicher as well. So I think this might continue for a while till the time they come out with the numbers, the monthly numbers coming for the this quarter as well. So I think that should remain in a pressure. Looks like for Eicher for at least for next couple of weeks more. Secondly, I think talking about Samvardhan, I think auto as a sector has done well. So ancillary obviously will do well. So I think obviously the stock should continue to do well, and stock has underperformed if you look 1 year or so. So I think some kind of momentum also again building up in the reward looks favorable for Samvardhan Motherson as well.
Okay, understood that. Rahul, many thanks for being with us and discussing so many stocks and sectors and market move going forward from here. The market's higher by 160 odd points as far as the Sensex is concerned, 65,600, and topping another milestone level right there, 19,450 and thereabouts currently for the Nifty. So the market momentum stays intact. We'll continue to watch out for as to how the second half of trading action pans out and which are the momentum plays that you should be definitely looking at to include into your equity portfolio as we speak. But do stay tuned on to Business Today TV. Until then, many thanks.
Honorable Harley Davidson is officially again back in India, and I'm joined by Mr. Pawan Munjal, and of course the man who's leading the operations for Harley Davidson, of course, in the American Center. Pawanji, thank you so much for joining us, sir. Tell us what the brand means for India, sir. Premium motorcycling, and of course for Hero Motor.